it.
Start it up.
We're just gonna document the process.
Why not, you know?
Hey, I think this is like the more fun, you know, when people, the beginning journey. Johnny and Dr. Greg, we're mapping out kind of 2021. I figured I'd start with this. This is kind of funny. So this is a pen for my patient because every time I make house calls, I never have a pen. And it's a Fisher Price, so kind of a kid. So I thought I'd like provide some inspiration. And I'm gonna like use this pen for this year. So Nurse Kim, I'm gonna carry a pen with me. You gotta hold me accountable here. The reason he bought it was, look at how tiny this little thing is. So it's supposed to go in like the little thing, so I always have a pen. But we're gonna write the journey today, and we're gonna plan with this pen, 2021. Dr. Greg, YouTube channel. So I figured maybe like we'd start with like kind of like the goals, you know, like what do we want to create? And like, you know, for me, you know, I know this is kind of an odd way to start, but like it's, we're gonna like basically give people an opportunity to come into my life and really share like, I think my passion for care and for impact. And it's definitely a little outside my comfort zone, right? Like to kind of open up this much and like, you know, it's kind of like, how do you balance ego and kind of like feeling like I'm the center of attention versus like service. Yeah. And so like, it's something I think that I'm like kind of thinking through, like just want to make sure that I really create a channel that like has service as like our number one goal, and like thinking about like the different pockets of people we will serve. Mm-hmm. So like one pocket, and like when I think about our target audience, it's like med students, physicians, kind of like, you know, I would say like clinical professionals that want to create, you know, a change and like want to impact medicine or care in like a new way. So kind of like an inspiration, you know, kind of piece of things. And like, that's a big part of our community. Cool. The second target audience would be, I would say like people caring for their families, right? Like how can we be the brand that like is the go-to brand for, you know, what are products, what are services, like, you know, like really, you know, kind of bringing care home is like my major passion and mission. And so what does that look like? How do we create like, you know, a content channel that like targets, you know, you've got a 7-year-old or 8-year-old mom, you know, like how do we create like, you know, content around like how do you care for somebody at home? Yeah. And like how do we bring the right people in, and like what does that mix look like, whether it's physical therapists, nurses, you know, like larger organizations, like so that's kind of like another piece. I think like for me, you know, really sharing the story of Dr. Gregory and like the brand behind that, like so kind of the influencer piece is like the other, you know, kind of like third kind of pillar of like what I want to do, like really showing the entrepreneurial side of like how do I map out, you know, kind of my day-to-day, what does it look like, and you know, how do I create, you know, kind of products, services, companies that I'm excited about, like how do we show people how to do that? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? I know you're the video expert, you know, just so you know, Johnny, we connected 2 years ago, or maybe less than 2 years ago on an Instagram DM. Yeah. And it just shows like, you know, I kind of set the intention that I wanted to find a videographer that believed in the mission, but also big belief in like kind of taking two different spaces. So like medicine, obviously it's science-based, it's exciting, it's important, it's evidence-based, but dude, I wanted to find somebody that shoots music videos and create art out of medicine. Like, you know, like that was the dream. And like we connected and it's been like fun. And another major point is like sometimes like your ideas and content, like it's about timing. And so it wasn't like the perfect time. I was like kind of still pretty clinical, and like over the last few years we've been kind of collaborating on smaller projects, and like now's the time.
Yeah. For the YouTube channel.
Yep.
I want to see some day in the lives.
Day in the lives, okay.
I really want to see like what a doctor does, you know?
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of other people do. Maybe people are interested in becoming a doctor.
Yep.
A house call doctor. And really just the general public, like seeing like something new, you know?
Yeah.
So just a day in the life series, you know, maybe.
Oh, I love that series. That's the other thing I was gonna say. Like, we should kind of map out different series, you know. And like, this is a mini series, right? Yeah. Maybe like one of our maybe like early launches,
you never
right?
know, we could sell it to Netflix someday, you know.
I love it.
You never know.
I love it. It's on video when Netflix purchases us in like 2 years.
Really? Another series.
Okay.
Kind of. I guess it could kind of tie in with the day in the life, but like using your products.
Yep.
With people in their homes and stuff.
Products. So that's like that's full on like maybe Dr. Greg brand products, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a series, like a how-to, right?
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, that's the reason we're creating them is to create simple products for people to use that integrate with their life.
And showing how it
like show how it works. Why do you need a blood pressure cuff, right? Why do you need a pulse ox, right?
So that's a whole nother series. Right?
So Dr. Greg. That's the product series, right? You know what's also like kind of cool is like we have, so I have the pulse ox, I have the oral thermometer, but like the next product, we're giving you a sneak peek here, is definitely the blood pressure cuff. And I think it'd be super interesting for people to see like how do you create, you know, like what does that look like, right? Yeah. Going from zero to like online Amazon, or online, you know, store as well.
Exactly.
You know, like because I think that's kind of what I spent 2020 learning, which is like, how do I manufacture? How do I design? How do I create products? How do I think about products? And, you know, what's been interesting is like, you know, kind of leveraging that clinical expertise with kind of my brother's knowledge of manufacturing and like understanding how that partnership works. I think would be super cool.
Yeah.
You know.
So would you want to tie that product series into?
Maybe that's like the entrepreneur. Yeah, that's like the entrepreneur journey or something. When I was thinking about like day in the life, like my big bucket is like home care, right? You know, like if that's our broad brush of like what is like, you know, if we're like trying to create like influencer categories, I think there's like home care, which is like this mission, right? Like, you know, if I think of like the Dr. Gregory Channel, like that's like a major piece. Like I want people to get care in their home. Okay. And so like the day in the life is like, what is, you know, maybe like we could follow along because this is like also cool, like a nurse, physical therapist, an occupational therapist, like you know, some sort of case manager. Like what does that look like? Like how do we manage people at home? You know, kind of a CEO of a home care agency, and then kind of like my clinical work. Okay. But the other thing that's like interesting here would be like the stories of patients. You know. Like patients I've either taken care of that like. That's true. You know, because like that's the special sauce.
That's emotional. That's what gets the audience to really draw emotion and connect with these people. And connect with you even more because you're helping them.
Exactly, like telling that story. Awesome. I want to show people like my mission with the videos is like, why is this so special? Right? Why do I care so much about moving people outside a clinic and a hospital? And like, why does it matter, right? Like, you know, when you're home, like you've got your environment, you got your pets, you've got like, you know, especially in the holidays, you know, like it's super meaningful. And what would be cool is if we're able to integrate the Dr. Gregory products into those. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's
like
all gonna connect.
Like we bring the kit, right? The other thing that I think will be super cool, like, so just so you understand kind of like the trajectory of Dr. Gregory brand, the big launch is like online, like the B2C customer. Yeah. But the other piece is like B2B business. And so like a few days ago I was talking with some friends because what's kind of cool is like I have some friends that do some, you know, and work at some larger like startups in Boston. And they basically said like, we don't have what you have, right? Like they don't have a supply chain that really has the brand that people recognize in the home. And so like, wouldn't that be cool to integrate, like really build it through kind of like see what they're willing to allow, but like those business meetings of like going through the journey, and creating that like, you know, next level of like the company. So we got the day in the life, Dr. Greg Products. We've got kind of like home care in general. I think the other piece is like kind of just like interviews of other, like how do we create brand influence and like, you know, what's interesting? Can we, you know, like interview some like experts in different spaces, right? And like kind of share a journey or like share what they're doing, like interesting things in kind of healthcare. The thing is like as the products evolve, the audiences or the slices of audiences are going to evolve, right? Because the products are built for, you know, it could be everyday, kind of like terming them designer tools for your home. But I think they're going to also, like, there'll be specific populations that they benefit more. Because ultimately we want to create a system where it's like, we've created content in December for January, you know? Yeah. Maybe not, right? But we have kind of like, let's just say the daily doses or other things. And then I would say there's like the spontaneous content that I just crank out, right? Yeah. Of like stuff that's like you hanging out with me and us doing stuff. But we would have some math strategy to like have consistency, like for the brand launch. I think we should even document the whole YouTube. Like, we're starting fresh, guys. I'm gonna just be open with you because I hope you watch this one day. I've never done a YouTube video, so stop with like the excuses that you don't know what you're doing. Johnny's never done a personal videographer, like, you know, kind of done and created like this amount of content around somebody. You know, all we know is that we have a passion, a mission, and a drive, and we know we're gonna get this done. And like, I don't care how many times we fail, but we're gonna have some viral videos 2021. There will be 1 or 2 hits. You only have to have one winner in life. Yep. I kind of love your concept of the raw stuff. Like, I think the reason Gary Vee, like, I wanna be the Gary Vee of doctor. I wanna be the Dr. Gary Vee version of like, just, we care a lot. Like, that's my personality. Care, we're authentic.
Like, we have a structure of the concepts we want to execute.
But it don't have to be perfect, man. You know, right? Like, I don't care about perfection. Like, I agree with you, dude. We should put out so much content in 90 days. Yeah. It just blows people's mind. So let's like map this thing out. I'm gonna fill this out. This is my operating system 2021. You know, this is it. I'm gonna be writing everything on it, from date nights to trips to my YouTube channel to my product launches. My whole year is going to be mapped out on this. And he's got kind of 4 principles here. The Misogi, which is like, what is that big thing that you're going to do? Kevin's rule, which is, you know, what are these like weekend trips, your daily vitamins, what do you do every day, your electives, and kind of challenges. But everything's going to be mapped to this calendar. This is it. Jesse, team, Build Your Life resume. Dr. Gregory, huge supporter. Thanks for changing my life. And really super pumped to use this as my operating system 2021.